Good morning, Turks and Caicos. Welcome to First Edition. Oh, I've got a lovely guest this morning. She knows all about beauty pageants. She's been there herself. Please help me say good morning to my guest, Charlene Grant Richards. Good morning.
Good morning, Cheryl. Thank you for having me this morning.
Oh, pleasure. How have you been?
Great.
Yeah?
All things working hard and pushing forward. Yeah, things good.
Now, you're an island girl. You're one of us. Most of us know who you are. But for those people who may have forgotten, because you've been away for a few years and then you came back home and you served, tell us a little bit about who Charlene is.
Well, as you said, I'm Charlene Grant. Many of you know me as Charlene Grant. I've been in the UK for about 25 years thereabouts, and I returned home in 2022, and I held the post of Director of Immigration. Currently, I'm serving as the chair for the Immigration and Population Policy Council for the government. And apart from that, I've started a new company, Jashar, which is the parent company for Miss International TCI. So currently I'm here this morning in that capacity, and everybody knows me. Don't want to say too much.
So I'm glad you mentioned the Miss International Turks and Caicos. That's a title that your daughter holds, right?
Yes. To say that Miss International kind of literally fell into our lap, because prior to her engaging with that pageant system, we never knew much really about it. I always knew it existed, but we never really know much about it because Turks and Caicos has always been focused on Miss Universe.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that you don't know who's following you, who's looking at you, who's watching this stuff, and from international waters. So we were contacted, and that's how this whole thing birthed. And so, as you know, I'm a pageant girl. Yes, and I would really love to see it, take form in Turks and Caicos, and really want to see it grow and develop, and its great potential at Miss International. I think we've missed out on participating in Miss International for many years. I think it's more suited to us here in Turks and Caicos.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that. So how significant do you think the platform of Miss International is?
Well, for one, it's a new market because it's in Japan. So it opens the door to a whole new possibilities of exposure. And it is one of the big four pageants, actually. It is the pageant that has been in existence for as long as Miss Universe has. And so in terms of it's being reputable, in terms of the credibility of the pageant, it is par on par alongside Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss Earth. Yeah, it's the big top four, as we will call them. So it gives a lot of exposure. I went to the pageant, accompanied Farah to the pageant, and had time to tour Japan and really look at their pageant system. And I was quite impressed because it's a different system to Miss Universe. It focuses more on cultural exchange and community building. It aligns itself with the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's very community-based, very focused on empowerment, women empowerment, and business-oriented platforms for women to excel in. So I like quite a number of things that they have going on there.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, listeners, viewers, we're talking to a homegirl, Charlene Grant. She's here to tell us all about Miss International and Miss International Turks and Caicos. So you mentioned Jashar. Tell us what Jashar is and why is it important for that organization to take on Miss International Turks and Caicos?
Well, Jashar actually was birthed out of an idea. My friend of mine, he's a pageant coach, and I'm sure many of you would know him around the island, Jarrett Rowe, right? I call him Jay, and he's a pageant trainer. And actually, he spearheaded quite a number of pageants in the Bahamas and around the Americas. And he was here and helped with the coaching of Farah when Farah was in Miss Turks and Caicos, Miss Universe TCI. And just through, you chit-chat, having a few drinks, we came up with the idea of starting something, didn't know really how it was going to take form. And so Jeshar was birthed, his name and my name apart together. And we just did it. I registered the entity and didn't know what we were going to do with it. Literally, no plans, no idea. Didn't know what we were going to do with it. And then Miss International happened. So I guess, you can say it aligned well. It really aligned well to have Miss International as a subsidiary under Jeshar. And Jeshar is a dual company that looked at production, modeling, and pageantry as the second part of it. And so our focus really is on the pageant side of things.
You also mentioned to me in a sidebar that you have a governance director. I didn't even know that was a thing in a pageant committee. Why is it important to have something like that?
I think for the most part, and as you probably would see with reputable pageant systems around the world, they would have a structured body. And so I was quite keen and adamant on developing and putting together a really good structure for Miss International TCI. So the governance body would have, we have about 7 directors that will be a part of Miss International TCI system, and they will be in charge of many different functions. I'm not going to say too much because we intend to have a release of that coming up within the week or so. But we will have governance body that will cover different aspects of the pageant journey in terms of delegate preparation and training. We'll have a director for that. We'll have a director for communications and so forth. So structure is important, and it brings integrity to what you're doing, and people can see and be able to follow with transparency. So that was a very, very important thing for me, to make sure that we develop Miss International in a very high standard possible.
I could hear that legal background coming out in all this.
But I tend to approach most things from a legal perspective. I kind of think, okay, I understand we're doing the right thing, but is the right thing to do? Is it what you're doing right? So,
do you think, coming from a world of pageantry yourself, do you think that pageantry today is about performance, personality, or precision?
I think as far back as I can remember, because I was Miss Turks and Caicos 1995, right? End of 94, part 94, 95. And back then to now, I personally can see the transition, how it has evolved. So pageant now is so global. There's so many different systems that has developed over those span of years. And it has a big presence. It's one of the things that hasn't really gone away or been diminished. Anything, it has grown. So it has a big presence. It's not just about a girl getting on stage and walking around in a swimsuit and a dress. It has global presence in terms of ambassadorship. It has far reach in terms of the platforms that they are able to establish and to grow and to champion. So I would say, we are looking at a new age in pageantry over the years.
Now, some of us are talkers. Some of us are very confident. Some of us don't mind getting in front of a microphone. But a lot of our young women today are, I'm not sure if they're shy, but they kind of lack that confidence in themselves. They have the ability. They just need someone to push them to take that step. Do you think that confidence is something that can be taught, or is it innate?
I think everybody has a degree of confidence in them. Like you say, some of it is upfront and some of it just need to be nurtured and pulled out. And I think providing opportunities for our young girls to act and play in roles that helps to grow their confidence. So it's something that you build and you nurture. I didn't always have confidence, and even now I don't feel like I really do. But I think being able to put myself in certain positions or over the years has helped me to, grow that a bit.
Let's talk a little bit more about you. You wear both hats, chair, CEO, and mother. How do you balance objectivity and emotion?
I think my background, my educational background, and my profession has really helped me quite a great deal, because it's a learned trait as a lawyer to be able to be impartial, to be able to take criticism, and to be able to look at things from a more objective perspective, as opposed to allowing the comments on anything negative to really get you. Not to say that it don't, but it's how you react to it. So I've kind of learned how to deal with a lot of that. And it was quite challenging over the last year for Farah being Miss International, me being a mom, and being national director, because not only that I had to digest and figure out how to navigate all of the chat in the social medias and stuff like that, I also had to navigate her, and many times I'd be like, hey, this is not mom, this is national director, you're under my contract. So it's just, I think my experience from my professional side of life has helped me quite a great deal with that.
I'm sure most of you haven't heard of Miss International Turks and Caicos, so tune in to First Edition and let's hear what Charlene Grant, the chair of that committee, has to tell us this morning. Now, are there any sort of formal systems, scoring, or any kind of oversight mechanisms that this contest will have?
We would follow closely the format for the parent Miss International Japan organization, because in a team franchise there would be guidelines and rules and stuff like that that they would have supplied to us. So we would closely mimic their system, and I would say that their system is less intimidating as Miss Universe is. So that is good for us in a sense. I've been to Miss Universe, and when I was there, it was a very, very intimidating system in terms of, you're coming and you're up against big countries, girls who have been in the pageant system from time they were teenagers and stuff. And you have some of that at Miss International, but I think the way the organization challenged that makes it a little bit less intimidating. So we will have the normal things around intelligence, poise, social impact, because like I said, their system is weighs heavily on social integration, social impact, and cultural exchange. So those are some of the things that we would want to see in our delegate for this year.
So let's talk about the actual upcoming pageant. Tell us a bit about it. When do you expect to have it? And, without letting out too many secrets, just give us a taste of what we can expect.
Well, as I said, Miss International is quite new to Turks and Caicos. And as we know, our country and our people you got to work hard to convince them that it's something to invest
we're a
into.
tough crowd.
We're a tough cookie, but I can tend to be a bit tougher too. But I'm quite mindful that it's new to everyone. I think the work that we have done with Farah as Miss International has given us a bit of foundation to continue build on. So we're not just coming straight out of the bag. We're looking to host the pageant in June, between the 22nd to the 27th of June.
It's not too far away.
No, it's not. But bearing in mind, we pulled off Miss International with 2 months when Farah went. We actually were contacted in September, mid-September thereabout, and she was due to be in Japan in November.
Ooh, that
so
was close.
we pulled off, and this is an international pageant. And I don't know how I did it. I have to say thank God. But with the help of many persons and stakeholders in the community, I was able to speak and convince and have them to buy in, and I'm looking to do the same now. And we have a little bit more time to prepare the girl. So my focus will be on the queen after we've had the pageant, because I wanted more time to prepare her rather than have the rush like we did with Farah. It give us more time to focus on her and getting to Miss International.
So our Miss International TCI goes to the global Miss International.
Yes, in
Okay.
November, and they've already put their dates out. The date is the 25th of November will be the finale. So she'll have to be in Japan from the 12th of November to around about the first week in December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we, given what I've experienced and what we now know, and I said to Farah many times, I say, you're the guinea pig, you know. You're the test run,
Yeah.
you know. I said, it's not about you going there and winning something, you're the test run, you know, because we're going to make something of Miss International here in Turks and Caicos. So now we know a bit more about their system. We know what they're looking for. We know how to prepare the next queen. We went into Miss International like a stab in the dark. It was quite new to us.
Yeah.
The culture is different to any other culture you would experience. Anyone who's probably traveled to Japan in that area would know it's quite different dynamics. But yeah, like I said, Farah did a very good job and allowed us to explore. And now we have something to go with and build upon.
Yeah. A lot of things in Turks and Caicos, Miss Grant, are sometimes short-lived. Does the Miss International Turks and Caicos signal a new era in pageantry in these islands? And do you see it as a long-term engagement?
Well, yes. Anybody who knows me know I can be relentless, right? So, and like I said, pageantry has always been a part of me. I've never really had the opportunity to jump in it. I mean, I've come back onto a number of our past pageants. I've went as a judge. I participated in terms of the background with certain systems in the UK, supporting stuff. And so it's something that, in terms of what I like to do, it's here to stay. It's here to stay because Turks and Caicos need more than Miss Universe. Yeah. I mean, I would really like to see, Cheryl, we have a girl at Miss Universe, we have a girl at Miss International, we have a girl at Miss Earth, and we have a girl at Miss World. At least the big four. We should be out there on those stages.
That would be amazing.
Because we have it. We have girls here. We have the talent. We have the ability to. And if we see what our past queens has done, even when we came back as Miss Universe, what Renee Myers has done, what Bernice Dickinson has just done, what Farah has just done at Miss International, that should tell us we have presence. We have the ability to go out there and dominate these pageants, right? And it's a global exposure. So it's Miss International is here to stay.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So you've hyped us up so much. How can young women locally get involved, and what's the entry point?
Well, the age criteria, as I said, a lot of what we're doing is aligned with the criteria for Miss International, and it's between 18 and 28. Yeah. So you see, you can almost.
Hey, yes.
Yeah. So age is 18 to 28. We will be hosting open day on the 25th of this month for all young ladies. We'll be putting out the information for that pretty soon. And we want to invite all young ladies between the ages of 18 and 28 to please come along, because it's going to be a day that is packed with information. We're going to have some pop-up workshops within those sessions. You're going to hear from our current Miss International. We're trying to get an international, whether it be video link or in person, few of the queens from that system to engage on that day. So we're hoping to really open the eyes and the minds of our young ladies to see that this is not just a pageant. This is not just you putting on a dress and a crown, right? It's really opening up the world to you. So we want them to come along. The pageant, we're keeping it very simple because obviously we know there's a lot of focus placed on beauty and everything, and that kind of, in some way, I feel pushes young ladies away. And so we're trying to keep it as simple, but also with substance,
Yeah.
and poise and everything else. But in terms of removing a lot of the things that would intimidate our young ladies. Yeah.
Now, you just gave me a great segue. And earlier you'd also said, besides what you just said a while ago, you talked about social impact and intellect. So are we sometimes too focused on the aesthetics in the Caribbean and not enough on intellect and advocacy?
I strongly believe so. I strongly believe so. And I think all pageant systems are different. So your Miss Universe is a pageant system that is more glamorized and heavily focused, in my opinion, on that. And I think that is the common opinion globally. Miss International, from my experience, that is a part of it, but it's not the central focus point for them. They are more on cultural exchange. They are more on community impact. And that's why I felt like the opportunity came and it aligned with Farah, because her focus for her pageant as Miss Universe TCI was social impact. She really didn't care about the other stuff. And I would be saying, girl, you gotta, you know, all this social work you're doing is great, it's nice, but this is a beauty pageant at the end of the day. Because Miss Universe is that way focused. And she was like, no, I want to leave a impact. I want to reach, I want to touch. So that's why I feel that Miss International would be a really good system for us as well. I think we will excel more in there. So yeah, cultural exchange, social impact, and they are aligned with the Global Sustainable Development Goals. So young ladies are required to champion their platform and align it with one of those 17 Sustainable Development
Goals. They should
Goals.
have a cause.
Right. And we know in Turks and Caicos has developed, our government have developed and implemented and a part of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So those are platforms that really allows our queen to make an impact, to have a voice and her concerns heard. And in many cases, we see that it can create change.
You mentioned this earlier. You said that pageants in Turks and Caicos have grown. They have expanded and evolved. But let me ask this: what would you say to critics who dismiss pageants as outdated?
I would say that they haven't been following the pageant system. Quite frankly, they haven't. They're not up to date. Surely they're not up to date. If you can see, when you have queens out there, whether it's be Miss Universe, Miss International, Miss Earth, Miss World, these are platforms that touch, political arenas.
Yes.
These are platforms that have a seat at global stages, that voices are heard. And then we also have former queens, from over the decades, who have evolved into careers, professional careers, that puts them in parliament in some countries, that puts them on top of educational systems, that has, really aligned themselves and made very good positive change. So I would say to critics out there, people who think that it's outdated, to get with the times, to understand, to listen, to educate themselves, to see how much that, I don't think any other one system has more influence globally than the pageantry.
Pageants are, at any level, are expensive. How is Miss International TCI going to be funded and sustained?
Well, if I tell you, girl, we did what we did in 2 months for nothing, little as nothing. It demonstrates that you don't need to have millions to make something happen. I believe that once there's a will, there's a way, and you stretch what you have and you be very strategic with your planning. And what, like I said, we had 2 months to get far to Japan and no budget. Right? Literally, we had no budget at all. And she got there. And oftentimes I look back and I said, how did you get to Japan again? But and we did it off a little as nothing, and with the generosity of a few businesses here, local businesses and individuals who have given a bit here and there. But I think being able to use those funds very strategically, and it's not about supplying your wants, it's about meeting the needs. And I think that's what we stuck to. And I think going forward is what the plan is. The plan is not to try and see how much money you can get from people, but the plan is to make whatever you have work, to make sure that you're just meeting the needs, and you can do that in a very good way and at a very good level, and then hopefully as the pageant grow, confidence is built, people buy into it, and they can see, on the back end, the good from it.
Yeah. Well, you've got a good platform this morning. So look at the camera and beg and plead to those sponsors to come forward now.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, thank you to all those who supported Miss International 2025. It was a short window of opportunity, and many of you step up and you support us. And you can see that going to Japan, we didn't come back empty-handed. Farah captured the Miss Americas regional title. It was the first time ever that Turks and Caicos participated in Miss International. I think people tend to forget that. So that was a historic moment.
Yeah,
and in that part of the world, everybody wanted to know Turks and Caicos. They never heard of it. Complete new exposure, complete new platform. So I think what she did there was tremendous. It was really good. We put our name out there on a global stage, and we've brought back a title that we can be proud of. So I just want to say to those of you who supported and those of you who are going to support,
there you go,
to know that the cause is worthwhile doing. And as I said, I would want to emphasize that Miss International is really built more on social development, cultural exchange, and sustainable development goals. So you will see the building of that side of the pageant out there, where we'll be shaping and doing projects within our communities that will strengthen ties and build more cohesion amongst us. And that suits us too, Cheryl, because Turks and Caicos, as you know, has people here from all walks of life.
Oh, indeed.
And one of the things that we can benefit from is that cultural exchange, to be able to build and bridge the gaps between our communities. So I want to say, when I come knocking, because I will, and when I come calling, because I will, I want you to think about that. Think about the good that Miss International will be doing in our communities that is worth your support. So please support us.
That was a pretty good pitch. So let me get back to structure for a moment. We know with your legal background and qualifications that, you talked about structure and wanting things to run properly. We also know that from pageants, it's announced 100 times during the pageant that the judge's decision is final. But if there is real controversy, is there a crisis protocol?
Yes. And as I said, because first and foremost, I believe it's important that the individuals you choose for judge understand the system you're working in. So that's one of the things that we're hoping to make sure we put in place. It's not going to be a random person on the night before come and be a judge. You will well be, we'll have meetings, we'll have structure in place for that. We'll have strict criteria. And I do also intend on having an officiator for the night. So any scoring and anything will be looked at from an independent accounting system in terms of how do they get to that result.
Yeah.
So we would do.
Yeah. Now, you've had great personal experiences in pageantry, and as a former beauty queen yourself, you've had that real experience. What would you say is the most important trait in a queen?
Being true to yourself, just being authentically you. Because nowadays it's so easy for judges, for platforms, and for public to see through who you are. You can only pretend for so long. But if you're and know your why, know your why you want to do this, right? Because if you know why you want to do something, then you have the confidence and belief in what you're doing. So I would say that is one of the biggest things, and you would probably hear that all around, and knowing why you want to do something and believing in that why. Yeah.
And what would you say is the achievement of hosting Miss International TCI mean for young girls and Turks and Caicos who are watching you right now?
I would say that for young girls, Turks and Caicos has had many challenges in terms of, like you say, they're a part of society that don't really support the pageantry, and I think too, because it's a misconception
Right.
of what pageantry really is, and the opportunities and the platforms that it brings positive change. So for young girls out there, we have Turks and Caicos. We are a very small country. We are small in numbers, and we are small in opportunities. And being able to pivot yourself from a pageant background to opening doors for you, there is tremendous networking opportunities here in Turks and Caicos, and being Miss International puts you at the center of that networking, because more likely than not, you'll be invited to everything.
Yeah.
Right? So it puts you in certain rooms and in certain circles where you will have the opportunity to meet people who you wouldn't ordinarily meet. You'll have the opportunity to give an opinion. You'll have the opportunity to say, I want to have an audience with the premier. I want to have an audience with, if you're working, let's say, on the Sustainable Development Goal that's attached to education, with our Minister of Education, because I'm passionate about that. That's what I want to see change. I want to advocate in that area. Being Miss International gives you that opportunity to open up that door, right, and to make a difference. So don't look at it as just, like you say, going into a pageant, you might get a few gifts or whatever. Look at it as an opportunity to make positive change in your own environment, in your country.
Yeah.
Being a brand ambassador, global brand ambassador for Turks and Caicos is a very big thing. And I'm still honored having had the opportunity to do that. And I still see myself as that in some way, because it never really leaves you.
Yeah.
People still hold you to a certain expectation and would want, because you're still a mentor, people still do look up to you. Yeah.
And what do you say to those young girls who'd like to compete? How do they start preparing now, right now?
Well, I think, first of all, if you decide that it's something that you want to do, the things that you have within your power to do is to restructure yourself a bit if you feel that you're not far there. I wouldn't say focus heavily on, I need to go on a diet, I need to this. No. I would say start thinking about researching the pageant system that you're entering into.
That's a good
So
point.
have a look at Miss International organization, see what it is that they're looking for, and then adjust your plans to that. And as I've said, and I keep emphasizing the cultural exchange and social impact side of things. So start thinking about your platform. What it is that you're passionate about, what it is that you would want to see change happen within your communities or within Turks and Caicos. And then start looking at your Sustainable Development Goals and see how you can align your platform with that, what you want to do. And I would say start getting out there, start, talking, start networking. The other part of it, we will get you there. So all of how you walk, your poise, whatever, will get you there. The new Miss International, same as Farah did, will be sending her off with a professional training for a month, hopefully. That's why we want to have this pageant sooner rather than later, so we can get the, kind of smooth over the rough edges and get it in line and stuff like that. We're only able to give Farah that for about a week, 2 weeks. Yeah, so we didn't have a lot of time again, but now we can forward plan a bit on that. So all of the poise and walk and talk and stuff We have a team. As I said, we have 7 directors that covers different aspects.
Right.
And so in terms of mentorship, in terms of bringing life experience to the pageant world for the young lady, we have people in place that are going to be offering that. So I would say focus on what's happening in your country. Focus on the social things that are impacting young people, how you would want to positively impact that. Yeah.
So here's a question. You may have touched on it before, and I think you have, but with multiple pageants operating, do you think this could lead to confusion internationally about who is the official representative of the country?
No, I don't think there's any confusion at all, because we have many countries that participate in several pageants.
Right.
And certainly the top 4 pageants. We have a Miss Jamaica World, Miss Jamaica Universe, Miss Jamaica Earth, Miss Jamaica International. Yeah, and there are 4 different pageant systems with 4 different platforms.
Right.
So as I said before, I would love to see Miss Turks and Caicos participate in at least the top 4 pageants. And it doesn't take away one from the other. We should be in a position where we feel proud, national pride, to parade our 4 top queens representing this country. I think
make it sound good.
No, that's what we should be looking at. Not comparing and putting people against each other and stuff. We should be like, wow, we're in top 4 pageant. That history alone. I mean, we've already got 2 now under our belt. We have Miss Universe and we now have Miss International. And I just got a message a couple of days ago to say, we would love to see you get Miss World and Miss Earth. And I think we had participated in Miss World some time ago, maybe twice before. And I think maybe one time, if I'm not sure, I could stand to be corrected, we might have been in Miss Earth one time as well.
I think I remember something about Miss Earth.
Yes.
Some time ago.
So I believe you'll be spoiled for choice in terms of who you want to interview and talk about the various different systems.
Yeah.
The things that they do have in common, obviously, is the stage stuff, what goes on there. But in terms of the work and the platforms that these pageants brings to our shore, it'll be a brilliant day to see that happen.
Yeah. Do you have any plans for bringing international queens or judges or people that are known globally here to Turks and Caicos for this pageant, or any time perhaps in the future?
Well, yes. The broader answer to all of that is yes, we do, as the pageant grow. This year here, one of the things we're trying to do with the title that Farah achieved at Miss International, Miss America's title, is that we've been lazing in having communications with the countries that make up the Americas. And so we're looking to have 1 or 2 of the misses from 1 or 2 of those countries to join us here in June. Obviously, for most anything else, it all depends on funding. So I need you people to give. Be as generous, God loves a cheerful giver. So but it's gonna be a unique experience. It's gonna be a pageant that's gonna be delivered at a very high standard, and we will be demonstrating how beneficial this platform is to not just the Queen, but to the Turks and Caicos. So we look for a good buy-in with it.
Georgina Stiles said to tell you good morning.
Oh, hi. Yes. Good morning.
Now, you mentioned at the beginning that JSR was like a modeling, fashion, pageantry house. So do you see this evolving into something more like the modeling and fashion ecosystem and not just a pageant?
I think we kept it open because in this arena, the pageant arena, there's a number of things that can be birthed from it. And you, like you say, and Farah is just one example of that, because here she was doing her thing, and her platform was just focused heavily on social and community impact and stuff. And from that, we were contacted. So if we have a girl that's out there and an agency is interested, obviously that's an opportunity that we would harness, and we will work and give that girl the opportunity, give full support for it. So I guess that's one of the reasons why we've broadened the franchise more than just pageant. Yeah.
Now, here's a question I'm sure all the young ladies want to know. So, what exactly does a contestant win beyond the crown? Are we talking scholarships, contracts, endorsements, modeling?
All of the above. All of the above. I'm certainly one who is true to my word, and we are working on a number of things. And because we do believe that a girl is putting themselves out there, they are laying it bare. They're opening themselves to a lot of things. Whilst there are the perks of being in the spotlight, we also know it's a mentally draining process, and we're seeking to have some really good gifts for the young lady. I would not reveal just quite yet, but that will be revealed ahead of the pageant. And we're looking for all of the above, where you just mentioned scholarships, whether it be travel. I'm actually seeing if I can get a car. So I'm putting it out there, a Miss International car. But I think big. I think you have to dream big, and you have to go after it. So I'm for one. There may be 1,000 reasons why something wouldn't work, but give me the one reason, and I will go with that. So will be working very hard to make it a fair, balanced pageant for all, and to make it worth the young ladies' while. So it's not just about the person who's crowned, but for those who come forward, they have our full commitment that we will be giving them the full support.
Yeah. Young ladies, you heard her say it on national radio. If she reneges, ask me for the clip. I'll make sure to give it to you. We're going to hold her to her word.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned sponsors and partnerships, but are contestants expected to self-finance at any stage?
Well, the goal is no. We wouldn't want them to do that. We would want to, first and foremost, for this particular pageant here, we would want to seek full 100% sponsorship for the young lady. And I'm mindful, I should say, we are mindful that we have a very small pool of businesses to go to, and it's a pool that everybody goes to for donations and sponsorship for whatever we're having in the islands. So we are trying to map out a package that is very reasonable. Like I say, we just want to meet the needs of the pageant and not the wants. So we're trying to be very, very conservative in our asks, and hopefully we can get more buy-in. But that funding will go towards giving each contestant the best possible opportunity they have to compete. Yeah. And to make their experience a very memorable one. Yeah.
Now, here's a question for the lawyer, for the immigration expert, for the mother, for the Turks and Caicos Islander. Must contestants be born Turks and Caicos Islanders, BOTC holders, or status holders to participate?
I have that all on our flyer, Cheryl.
I haven't seen the flyer.
I have that all on our flyer.
You should have brought the flyer for us to put up.
Right here. They must have what you call it? Being born here is obviously a straightforward met criteria for the young lady. Residence, having full permanent residence it's open to those with permanent residence. So if you have a young lady who's particularly not born here, however, she has a BOTC, she has residence here, belonger status, they're eligible to participate in the pageant.
Okay, that makes it accessible to quite a few.
Yes, and it's based on the idea of also cultural exchange, and like I say, the whole concept of Miss International.
Okay, so will young ladies in the Family Islands have access, or will this be Providenciales centric?
This is Turks and Caicos centric. Let me just say, this is Turks and Caicos centric event. However, we are hosting in Provo, and I think that's just because the bulk of our people are here, and the hub of everything is here, and more support is here. What we had planned and we're still trying to see what we can do is to visit a couple of the islands over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we're trying to have a touch base person in each island that will help us. And so we were trying to see if we can take elements of the pageant across the Turks and Caicos. And if it doesn't happen, this pageant here, that is the idea, the concept for the years to come. So we would want to, let's say, for instance, host the costume competition in Grand Turk, right? Grand Turk is our capital, and I hate the fact that we leave it out most of the time. So, and I'm a Grand Turk girl, as you know, right?
My own heart.
So I definitely would. And then also my heart is in North Caicos, you know, and so we would want to have something there. So we would want to incorporate the entire Turks and Caicos, because Miss International is Miss International TCI, Turks and Caicos Islands.
Right. Interesting. So you mentioned criteria and governance before. Are there any sort of codes of conduct? For example, are you going to look at social media behavior, public representation, advocacy requirements?
Oh, absolutely,
those sorts of things?
Absolutely. You are nurturing and you are putting a young lady out there to be mentors.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes with a degree of the responsibility and behaviors. And so certainly we would have contractual agreement for our representative to be contracted and to uphold, like all pageant systems, all credible pageant systems have that in place. So of course we would want to have our young ladies with clean social medias, you know, promoting positivity. So if
That's so important.
I would say, and I will dare to say now, if you are looking to participate in this pageant and any other pageant, and if you haven't, I would go to my social media now. I would clean it up. No, because it goes beyond our shores.
Yes.
Because social media is not just limited to those in Turks and Caicos. People from the outside world start scrolling your social media.
I think that's such an important point to make.
And then it gets anything that is dodgy, anything that is not credible, or anything that puts you in a bad light. Those are things that people tend to focus on.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't want our girls to be in that position. And I think also educating them around the use of social media and how you do things is one of the things that we will look at too.
Yeah. What disqualifies a contestant, and who makes that call?
Well, that call, again, I will say, is set by the parent organization. Yeah. So they have a lot of their terms and conditions and rules that I had to sign up to and to make sure that I uphold. So it will be set at the same standard. For instance, a girl being pregnant whilst Miss International is one of the disqualifying factors for them. Obviously, anything that brings the organization into disrepute, will be something that will be looked at very, very closely.
Now, I think just one of our last questions, because you've been over it, but I want to be sure, and I want the young women in Turks and Caicos to know this. How do you ensure that a young lady listening right now feels she has a fair shot, and not just the so-called well-connected?
Well, this pageant system is international, is based on transparency, accountability, and fairness. I think that is one of the main things and the main focus that will set Miss International apart. So, like I say, if you know why you want to do this and you feel have the confidence, you have every opportunity as anybody else, a level playing field. There will be no prejudging, no anything, and it's important because you don't want to go into something already feeling disadvantaged or disenfranchised, or you wouldn't know. No, every opportunity and everything that we do will be done with transparency and will be done in fairness. And as I said, those are the standards. You know, I know people say, well, it's never going to be 100% and whatever else. And we can't change. There's some natural stuff that you can't change. For instance, you might have two girls. One might be vibrant, going out, and everything, and doing everything they can. And another person might be a little bit more introverted, maybe whatever the case may be, the different qualities. Yeah. But essentially, you would know what the pageant system is about, a Miss International pageant system is about, and you would know if that's the right fit for you and your personality and what you want to do. But if once you're in it to win it.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. You know, you're in it to win it. And, you know, people gonna natural attributes about individuals, you know, differs, and we can't do anything about that. But in terms of what you put into it is what you're gonna get out of it.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it.
Let's just use the last few seconds and recap when the event is, dates, age limits, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So thank you again. Miss International pageant is looking to be hosted. I must say this is going to be the first inaugural pageant. So it's a very important one because we had a coronation with Farah because of the time constraints. So this will be our first inaugural pageant. We're looking to host this pageant on the 22nd, between the 22nd and 27th of June. So in a couple of months' time. We have a flyer out already on our Instagram page, that is Miss International TCI Instagram page, and also on Farah Grant page, Instagram page, that sets out the criteria, age limits between 18 and 28 years old. Also, we'll be hosting a workshop orientation day on the 25th of this month. So look out for more information with that to come. And on that day, we'll be giving full details. You'll get workshop sessions and what the expectations are for the pageant. The Miss International itself will be hosted in Japan, November the 25th of November. Yeah.
Okay. So listeners, viewers, we've been sitting and having a chat with Charlene Grant. She is a former queen herself. She knows all about the world of pageantry. But the real test for Turks and Caicos now is not whether we can produce an outstanding queen. We've done that. You've got one right here with us in studio. The question is whether we can build a system that makes excellence repeatable. And because when talent meets opportunity and opportunity is governed well, you don't just crown a queen, you build a legacy. This has been First Edition. I'd like to say thank you to my guest. She's been a ray of sunshine this morning.
Thank
We
you.
wish you well with the upcoming
very much.
pageant. And if you're looking for a chaperone to go to Japan,
Oh, certainly.
call your girl, okay?
Yes, certainly, certainly. Thank you so much for having me, Cheryl. Enjoy it.
You're welcome. Join us again next week for First Edition.